As you guys might know, I'm from California, where we're not really known for our smoked meats. California is more known for its direct grilling. And also, we don't really get a lot of post oak out here, which seems to be the preferred wood. So today, we have a couple of brisket leans that I got from Costco that we're gonna be smoking. What we're really gonna be testing is the type of wood that we wanna use, post oak or mesquite. Two different kinds of woods. Now, if you're not subscribed, I hope this video does it for you. And what we have here are some Brisket prime beef. We're gonna open up the package. Again, I'm not sure why Costco was selling these things in two different parts like this. And I'm not really complaining too much because it gives me a cheap option to practice. Look at the marbling in that thing. So we're just gonna take off some of this silver skin here that's on the top. It's a really windy day here in California. And of course, it starts to get really windy when I wanna record. And if you guys have seen my other brisket video, I went through on how to trim a brisket. This is just some silver skin that's never gonna render down. If Max was out here, he might get a treat, but he's locked in the house. I really liked this option of cooking these leans because, as I might have mentioned to you guys, I'm cooking for about a party of about 40 to 50 people here coming up in a couple of weeks. And this really gives me a good chance to practice on some different types of smoking wood. Not so much time because they are just some leans, and these ones will cook fairly quick, or at least quicker than a whole brisket. But gives me a chance to mess with the ratios of pepper and salt. Thinner edge here might burn a little faster, so we can kind of take it down just a little bit, just so it's not so thin, because those ends will more than likely burn. Flip it over, and we don't want to take too much fat off of it. I know it's the lean, but needs a little bit of fat. And I see some little strands here of some silver skin that we're going to take off. It's kind of weird just cooking these leans like this. And I think that's it. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is what I'm cutting out, are these long strands of silver skin. We'll rub this thing down. I'm not going to use a binder on it, but we'll get it nice and tacky. And we'll just start hitting it with a nice coat of our mixture. And then don't forget your edges. Flip that over, rub it down. One of these is going in the offset and the other is going in the barrel. So also getting to test out some cooking techniques. That is looking pretty good to me. All right, so with these all set up, we're gonna go ahead and get our pits ready. Using post oak in the offset, and then using mesquite in the barrel. All right, and while we let our charcoal light, we'll go ahead and lay our first brisket, fattier side. It's weird to say fattier side with this thin of a brisket, towards the fire. Now, wanted to say that I am starting this cook a little bit later in the day. So my plan is to maybe about 9 o'clock tonight, I'll take them out and I'm gonna give them an overnight rest in the oven. And then so you can see my setup here, my charcoal's laying on this side. This side we're gonna put the brisket there. And same thing with this one. We're going to give it an overnight rest in the oven. We had such little brisket trimmings, I'm gonna throw the fat on the fire. All right, so we're at about hour 4. This is still looking pretty good. The bark on it hasn't completely set, and this is on the offset, but we're getting really nice color. I'm real happy with it. So we're gonna move it a little bit closer to the fire. The one in the barrel's cooking pretty quick. Let me take you over there and check it out. So here's the one in the barrel. The crust is setting a lot faster on this one. So what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start spritzing it with some apple cider vinegar, about 25% of that, and the rest, 75%, is apple juice. So we'll just start hitting the outside of it just so it doesn't dry out. But it's been looking pretty good. I'm excited about this one. I've cooked whole briskets in the barrel before, and they've come out great, so I'm excited for this one. I'll keep spritzing once every hour or so, and then we'll check back in with you guys. All right, so we're about 5.5 hours in, and the brisket in the barrel is ready to be wrapped. The bark is nice and set. We're gonna actually take it out of the barrel and then throw it in with the in the offset. You know, heat is heat, and since it's wrapped, it's not gonna accept any more smoke at this point anyway. It's just to make it a little bit easier for me. So let's get it done. All right, so now that we've got our little mini brisket here laid down, what we're gonna do, since it is a lean, we're gonna go in with something you guys have seen on the channel before. We're gonna go in with some liquid gold beef tallow. Let's go ahead and put a couple of scoops in there. Now that's looking pretty good. Let's wrap it up. Oh, we're actually gonna spray it with a little bit of our solution here, since we've got plenty of it. Get a little bit of moisture in there. All right, so now that we've got it wrapped up nice and tight, let's throw it on the offset. So we've, over here at the offset, let's let this one kind of tip over and drain off a little bit. Got a little pooling in the middle. The bark is starting to set just a little bit, not as much as we hoped. And let's get this thing set up in here. I'm gonna put it on this top rack because I feel like once I close it, it's not gonna close right. So that one's gonna be there. And then we're setting the other one up on the top rack, as you guys can now see it. We'll give this one a spritz. Add in a few more chunks of our post oak now, and let it keep going. All right, so we have reached a point where it's time to go ahead and wrap this one also. And before we lose too much daylight, I'm gonna wrap this one and then I'm gonna throw it in the oven, the both of them. This one's gonna get the same treatment of some beef tallow. We're gonna leave it in the oven at about 165 degrees, and we're gonna leave it overnight. And we'll check back in with you tomorrow, and I'll give you an update on how these things came out. All right, so it's now the next day. We've let these things rest in the oven for about 12 hours now. We're gonna open them up. So this one was the mesquite wood. This one was post oak, and see how they look. They are looking pretty good. This one, the mesquite wood, looks like the bark got a little bit set, a little better just because it was in the barrel. Let's take them out of this pan. Let's add a little bit of this fat back to them. Ooh, that's looking good. And this one too. For it being lean, it feels pretty jiggly. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'm kind of happy with these things. We're gonna see how tender they are. All right. So just initial impression. Again, this one here looks like the bark set a little better on it. This one, I mean, I kind of like this one too. This one's got the ends a little bit burnt, but they're still looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and bust a knife out and cut into them. And we'll start on this end. So again, this is the mesquite. We'll cut that end off. And also, remember, this one came out of the barrel. Let's make some thinner slices because I think we're gonna make some brisket sandwiches out of these. Let's do some. It's nice and tender. It's got a nice smoke ring. Let's do a pull test. It's extremely tender. We see all the fat in there from it being a prime brisket. Let's give it a shot. So that's the mesquite wood. Not overpowering. Really liking the flavor. Oop, kind of ripped apart on that's the little burnt end that didn't survive very well. It's got a really nice color to it. Let's see if we can get a close up on that. Really tender. The smokiness is not overpowering. I think I like it. But we still have to test it to this one. So now we'll move over to the post oak. Let's get this to the side so you guys can see this cut into. So we'll cut off the end. We'll get into a middle cut. This one's looking good. Dissect that here. We'll give that a pull test. Nice and tender. All that intermuscular fat. Let's taste it. Not as smoky. Not as smoky. Still has some smoky flavor to it, but not as smoky. That's my personal opinion. I have an assistant here today that's going to test it out for us. So you can try the mesquite brisket first. You don't have to eat the whole thing, just take a nice bite. Then, see if we can get you. All right, now throw that to the side. And then this is the post oak. Here you go. All right, what is your personal opinion?
Very good.
Well, obviously. Which one do you like better? That's a better question. Oh, he's pointing toward the mesquite. You know what? I think I really do like the mesquite too. I know mesquite is really used for hot and fast grilling. But this mesquite wood one has a really nice smoky flavor. And I bet I could shave off a few hours by cooking it in the barrel. The barrel to me does seem like, I will say that you have to really pay attention to it. You don't want to overcook in the barrel because it is cooking at a higher temperature with it being so enclosed in there. So it's a lot more. I found myself watching the brisket in the barrel a lot closer than I did the one in the offset. So the offset might be a little bit more forgiving, still paid attention, but just not as much as to the one in the barrel. And if you guys remember, I wrapped the one in the barrel a lot faster than I did the brisket in the offset. But these came out really good. Let's cut into this one. I've got a couple of people in the house that are gonna taste test. And stay tuned for the video where I cook for 50 people. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.